So good evening, everybody. Thanks for having me here today. Yeah? Okay. So first of all, I want to say that we are a customer of PwC. They've been awesome. Ian is great and his team is great. And if you don't think you can afford PwC, that's not necessarily true because they very much support aspiring entrepreneurs. We're also we're a top 10 company for the New Ventures media, and that was an incredible experience. That really forced us to go through a very structured process to develop out our business plan, and they were very, very active in matching us up with mentors and supporters to kind of flesh out ideas. So totally encouraged, working with Angie and the New Ventures VC. And then thirdly, what I'm here to talk about today is mostly my experience as a female technology entrepreneur. I'm going to apologize up front because they told me I had 5 minutes. And so in order to do that, I had to write a lot of stuff down because I want you to at least walk away with some nugget of useful information than me just standing up here. I think it's been really awesome that there's enough of us now to become a category, especially when that's actively being recognized and supported. When I first started, there was none of that as a category, and there were hardly even any women, in tech. So to start, I wanted to focus on this picture because it's a pendant of our Vidigami logo that was created by our customer experience manager out of Fimo clay. And why am I showing this? Because I think the success of a company has everything to do with the team, the people who come together to turn vision into reality. Very passionate, committed people who work together in order to overcome a tremendous amount of challenges throughout the years it takes to be able to build a product in order to get your customers. Here, on the top left-hand corner, are cupcakes with the Vidigami logo, baked by one of our QA, testers. On the bottom is Sean's birthday. We celebrate everything at Vidigami. Every month we've got a birthday, and we use this as a way to show appreciation of every member of our team and what they do for us, and that they are a part of that team. We have 60% of our team are females. So I think it's the relationship between the team and our shared purpose that connects us, and I think it's this foundation that makes it possible to make what seems impossible happen. And in most cases, this describes the challenge of every tech startup, right? Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. So it's taken me years to come up with this description of who I am: problem solver, innovator, entrepreneur, and mother. So I didn't start my career as an engineer or a technical, with a technical background. I graduated with a business and communications degree from SFU. I was inspired by how wireless communications was going to change the world. And that was not from my engineering degree. It was from reading the CRTC manual on PCS. And I thought, well, how am I going to get myself into this industry? So I took my term paper and I submitted it to Nortel because they were like top of the game at the time. And I said, I want a job here. And when I started, I moved to Ottawa after I finished school into the wireless group, and I worked for product management. When I started, one of the members of my team, who was an aeronautics engineer with an MBA from Western, asked me, "What are you doing here? You're not an engineer. You don't have an MBA." When I left 2 years afterwards, he pulled me aside and he said, "I'm really sorry, Mandy. You've really changed the way I look at people." What he meant was women. And, it's been very, very exciting because I think technology has really, really shaped our society. And that's actually what inspires me. Being able to affect change in the way people live and interact and communicate. That's what I love about technology, the impact of it. So I moved back to Vancouver, and I worked with a company called NPR Teltech. And the evolution, there was huge aspirations for NPR at the time to be a lucent technology. So I joined the multimedia group because it was really sexy. I thought, wow, video and all that stuff. What I realized after I took the job was that all it was about was codecs and digital transmission. But it was very exciting because it led me to work with my first startup called QDesign. QDesign was a startup founded by the head of the Multimedia Telecommunications Group of NPR, and he was the leader in his field for digital audio compression. So we launched the company with the first MPEG audio compression software to operate on desktop computers. So we migrated away off, DSP hardware and that sort of thing. And so my early customers were everybody from ABC radio networks to CBS and all of that. But our real claim to fame actually was our own, proprietary technology that launched QuickTime 3 streaming in 1999, where we delivered the Star Wars theme song over a 28K modem, full bandwidth stereo audio. It was very awesome. And from there, we've done so many firsts, because I think as a startup, a technology startup, the only thing you've got going for you is innovation, right? You can do things faster. You can think of more creative ways to get things done than a large company. And so QDesign was a lot of firsts. We were the first MPEG audio compression software. We were the first low bit rate, compression software. And that was competing against, mono audio from real networks. This was before Windows Media, right? We were the first cross-platform Mac, PC, music player before the time of iTunes. In fact, I was at a table with Phil Schiller debating whether or not MVP could be, iTunes. And there's a lot of story, with that. Subsequently, the company got acquired, by DTS. And in that, we learned a lot about how there was no money in streaming media. So we needed to do something very different. There was a tremendous amount of content, though, sitting in the vaults of ESPN. So we wanted to be able to go and monetize that content. And thereabouts came the company called CustomFlix, which was acquired by Amazon in 2005, and with the idea of being able to monetize that, basically monetize all that content, right, that people are willing to pay for that wasn't worthy of being on a Walmart shelf. So the company was acquired, became CreateSpace, the current on-demand media publishing division of Amazon, and it fulfilled Bezos' concept of long tail. We didn't want to leave Vancouver for family reasons, and we started another company called Aegis Mobility. We were tackling the problem of cell phone talking and texting while driving. That led to 10, awarded patents and what have you, and probably some of my best work, because what it enabled me to do was develop around an incredible solution that would really, which is no different, like if you guys are sort of familiar with the way that, the iPhone is managing, don't talk while driving, and you can turn on your little switch kind of thing. We were doing that for mobile operators. So I worked with mobile operators, insurance companies, to roll that out. We raised like $18 million, But, in that process, after we raised the money from investors, they decided that a married couple really shouldn't be working together. And to prevent problems, one of us needed to leave. So I started that with my ex-husband. I left. I really left. There's a lot of learning, associated with that, because I think what was very difficult was we were able to get to that kind of success with those partnerships with an incredible product, but at the end of the day, it was all the external influences, right, that made it extremely challenging, to realize. So, the vision of it. And the last thing I wanted to do was start another company, but here I am with Vidigami. So, Vidigami is very interesting because it really marries my sort of experience as an entrepreneur with my role as a mother. And this is what was really important to me for my new, venture. So as a background, Vidigami is, the word vidi is the past tense of to see in Latin, and gami comes from origami, which is the magical transformation of paper into 3D objects, right? So Vidigami is the magical transformation of individual moments captured into incredible stories. And what we do at Vidigami is working towards fulfilling, actually, this vision. So over the last 20 years, this is what I've learned. Vidigami is positioned as the place for school memories. The school yearbook market and portraits market is $2 billion, a year. And what I see is an incredible opportunity to bring, a private Facebook solution, right, to the K-12 market, and that's what we've been doing. So from a technology point, this is what makes me excited. The concept of crowdsourcing media, the application of AI, and the use of that content as a mechanism to be able to deliver very, very personalized messages. Market penetration was very important. In order to build out a platform, I needed to focus on very, very targeted market. So the education market was where I felt was very, there was an incredible opportunity there. Product strategy, I've learned that I need to build a solution, not a component. And to build a platform that is extensible. And I needed to build a problem that I can understand, that I am a customer of. So Vidigami pulls all of that together. As a takeaway, this is what I've learned, that entrepreneurs are really optimistic. What that means is it always takes longer to do what we want to do than we think. So you need to make sure that you are financed or you're resourced appropriately in order to get yourself from here to there. The only thing you can count on is that something will happen that you didn't count on. That the value of a strong team committed to a clear vision will help you through the hardest times. Tenacity, perseverance, resilience. You guys have already heard this, before. It's just kind of, table stakes. And I think for women entrepreneurs, I think this, if you take away from what I'm talking about today, this is what you need to know, I think, about women and entrepreneurs a little bit. I think there are a lot of incredible women out there, but they don't get into tech because they're afraid of technology, right? But you know what? It takes more than technology to build a company. Technology is only a means, right? It takes a great team to come together. So I've got a great team of technical people. I have advisors who support and complement, what we do. So I think women don't need to be afraid of technology to be able to do, to be in tech. I think the imposter syndrome is very real. I think you can't help it. It's in our DNA. So having support, having a mentor, having coaches to help sort of reinforce that you can do it is probably 80% of what it takes. And I think that the gender difference is a real cultural, divide. It's not, I don't think it's malicious. I just think it's different. It's just a gender difference. So getting the benefit of the doubt, the reality is, it's a bonus for women. I just plan on having to prove it. And being emotional is not being passionate. That's just reality. So from, my experience over the years, I'm a problem solver. Applied problem solving is innovation. Applied innovation is entrepreneurship. And entrepreneurship is what inspires me because it's the rallying of people, resources, and vision into a successful enterprise. That's it.
Any questions? Just a show of hands. Dave, of course. Always kicks things off. Here you go.
So that was great. I'm curious to hear more about the imposter syndrome. I think I know what it means, but if you could say more about what it means as a woman specifically.
So the imposter syndrome is when you second guess whether or not you have the ability or to do something or if you're worthy of being able to do it. So it's the, what, me? You want me to stand up here and speak to all these people? Are you sure? I think that second guessing of your ability constantly is the basis of the imposter syndrome.
It's more common for women.
Because we're told not to be as ambitious as we are.
Yeah.
Since
The
we're
concept
young.
of leaning in is an extension, right, of that. So in my previous company with Aegis, my ex-husband and I debated whether he should be CEO or I should be CEO. And he ended up being CEO because we decided that I decided that I wasn't the vision of a telecom CEO. Yeah.
Any other questions on this side? Oh, one at the front. No, that's great. You're fine.
So, as a woman entrepreneur, do you think that there are advantages for a woman entrepreneur at this stage compared to the, like, a common theme of the previous years and ages, I can say?
Yeah. I think what's really great is when I started this talk with the fact that we're a category now. We're a category. Women entrepreneurs, it's a category. There's support for women entrepreneurs, whereas I think in the past that just wasn't, the case. When Ian pointed out that, 5% of tech companies are CEOs are women, right? It's not very many. So being able to connect, with other women entrepreneurs, it's actually quite a it's just not common.
Last question. Oh, I thought I saw a hand. I have a question. Why did you decide to go into tech?
I decided to go into the wireless industry. It just happened to be tech. I wanted to be part of this exciting industry that was going to change how people communicated, how people interact, and how people were going to live. It happened to be tech. Yeah.
People buy portability.
Yeah.
People buy portability.
Yeah.
They have the fixed line phone at home. Who's buying that? It's more cheaper than mobile phone, but people still buy mobile phone because people buy portability.
Probability. Got it. Good point. Thank you so much, Mandy. This was great.